Johnny, we'll start with you because the Cards play tomorrow night. And you were talking early on in the show about how this NFC West is not really what everyone maybe thought it was going to be, especially with the 49ers struggling the way they are. I don't know, how realistically you look at it. It's like some type of Cardinals run coming out of this, but the door is cracked open. Is this game against the Chargers tomorrow night considered a must-win?
It is. It's 100% a must-win for a lot of different reasons. I do want to preface this by saying, like, as down as I am on the Cardinals, they have played the hardest schedule in the NFL thus far. Like, that's not an opinion. That's a fact. PFF referenced it. They played 5 of their 6 games have been against playoff teams from last year, and the only team that they've lost to thus far that doesn't have real playoff aspirations, or that they played, are the LA Rams. They played the Bills, Lions, Commanders, Niners, and Packers. Now they play the Chargers. Like, there is no Tennessee or Jacksonville mixed in there. This is a must-win for a lot of different reasons. Yes, it's got a barometer on viability for the rest of this year, but the Los Angeles Chargers were where the Cardinals were to some extent last year. The Chargers are in year 1 of a rebuild under Jim Harbaugh, but we have different expectations because it's Jim Harbaugh, and yes, they've got Herbert, and the Cardinals were missing Kyler Murray, but the Cardinals have an 18-month head start. Like, they got started last year. They've had 2 off seasons. Hogue, you've experienced this in Chicago. When you play these teams that just started on their rebuild, like a Commanders, and your team has been rebuilding for 2+ years, and they've had the cap space and they've had the draft picks, and you can't beat these teams that just started and they're ahead of schedule, there's very few things that get people riled up more than that. Like, I can grade on a curve when you face the Detroits, the elites, right? Obviously. But in a game like this, to really reintroduce Kyler Murray to a national stage, post Cliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim, with Jonathan Gannon now, who's taken his own, scope of criticism, which I think has not been, rightfully deserved. You're playing a Charger team that doesn't travel well. That preseason, a lot of people expect you to win this game. Suddenly, you look up and it's basically a pick 'em. I think the line started about -2.5 for LA. Cardinals are basically a point and a half underdog now. Chargers are missing Joey Bosa, Quentin Johnson, their top receiver. The roster is not great. They really haven't beaten anybody. They're a nice story, but they've beaten the Broncos, the Panthers, and the Raiders. And they lost to the Steelers and the Chiefs, right? If you're the Arizona Cardinals, you have to win this game if you want to be taken seriously. If you lose this game and you fall to 2-5 with Kyler Murray and Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Budda Baker, and all the good mojo that you seemingly built up this offseason, like, we're going to start talking about, like, is this the right regime? You're 2-5. Like, you won 4 games last year. The year before that, you won 4 games. I get it was under a different regime. So I picked them to win, gentlemen, on our Friday preview show. I don't feel good about that at all. I think Jim Harbaugh is an elite head coach. I think that they do everything the Cardinals wish they could do well, run the football, play great defense. If the Cardinals want to win this game, and I tweeted this out, like, Kyler Murray has to be undeniable. Marvin Harrison Jr., who was cleared from concussion protocol, has to take this game over. That's the only way you're beating this Charger team. Like, I use this comp, and it's not apples to oranges, but I'll end on this. I was at the Fiesta Bowl a couple years ago when TCU beat that great Michigan team, right, that we all thought was national championship bound when they lost in the semifinal. They did so with, I think, lesser talent because, coincidentally, Quentin Johnston took over that game and had 150, 200 yards, and they lost through the air. Like, that's how you beat the Charger team. If you want to play the trenches against the Chargers, if you're the Arizona Cardinals, you will lose this game.
Probably a good opportunity for me to get a little plug in too, because depending on what happens here with the Cardinals the next couple weeks, and if the Bears can handle things against the Commanders, got a little CHGO PHNX battle coming up in a couple weeks down in the desert, and that comes with a golf outing. The Desert Duel is happening that Saturday morning of that weekend too, and so we got a lot of people from Chicago watching right now, Bears fans, Cardinals fans watching this show right now. Make sure you check out True Fan Travel because all of those events that are going to be happening that weekend when Chicago invades Arizona, on top of all, the permanent invasion that already exists there, Johnny, as you know.
Can I just make a quick point? They are the the highest priced tickets of the year for Cardinal home games, easily. If with our ticket provider that we use, Game Time, like they are easily the highest. I've got family coming into town from Illinois, like triple the prices. So yeah, you're speaking to the choir, my friend.
Well, it's going to be a super fun weekend. We're going to be down there the entire weekend. And if you guys saw anything of what we did in London, this will be admittedly like London light because it's a little shorter trip. But I love going to Phoenix, and we're going to have meet and greets and events. And obviously, if you want to play some golf, we got a great golf outing happening that Saturday too. So go to truefantravel.com for all the info on that. And plus a big tailgate happening before the game too, which tickets are still available. I think the only thing that's been sold out were the actual game tickets that were available. To Johnny's point, the tickets are hard to come by.
We all silly like the mayor.